Hi everyone, I'm back making another card for Brutus Monroe. I'm kind of gonna go ahead and show you how I created the background for this card. This is sort of a galaxy card that I made with a combination of distress inks and some of the Brutus Monroe inks. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you how I created this background, and then I'll just kind of talk you through what else I did on this card. So the first step you want to do is kind of pick out some of your colors. Now I have Brutus Monroe Locomotive, which is a really nice dark color. So that's kind of what I did here to give it that really nice dark color. And then I have some purple, which I like. And then you might want to throw in some other brighter colors. So a good one might be mustard seed. You might want to use like a pink or even a green. Or just kind of play around with different colors and see how it works out. For this one, I used some of this Festive Berries. I used a little bit of dried marigold along with these two colors. Today I'm going to go for something a little bit different. I'm going to be using the green and the yellow, and we'll see how that turns out. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you kind of how I do this. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of this mustard seed and blend it on in a few different areas, making it really bright. And just kind of blob it on. Leave a few empty spaces between, because you're also going to fill in with some more other colors. So I think that looks pretty good to start with. Then I want to take some of this green. This is Twisted Citron. I think I want to kind of blend it together a little bit. Bring some in on the corners and around the edges of my colors here. Get some green going. The idea is that you're going to kind of cover up some of these colors with your darker colors. Then you get some of those vibrant colors peeking through, but it's dark enough that it still kind of looks like a galaxy scene. And then once you have your colors all applied, then you can go on and kind of splatter some paint or different mediums to kind of make it look like stars. So that's where we're going with this idea. Kind of really want to get some of this green in here. So I'm really trying to blend that through. You can kind of leave that spot a little open with some of that white. And now, distressed inks are reactive with water, but the Brutus Monroe inks are not. Those are more permanent. And I kind of want to splatter a little bit of water on these and then dry that before I put on my Brutus Monroe inks, because if I put those on top, I'm not going to get that water splattered effect. And I kind of want to get a little bit in the background. So just going to take a little bit of water, splatter it on here and there. Leave it for a good 10 to 15 seconds. Kind of let that water push some of the ink aside. And then I'll go ahead and just kind of blob it off. And if you want to use a whole lot more water, go ahead and use a watercolor paper, because that kind of pushes the water around a lot better than cardstock that might kind of just absorb it, like this is doing a little bit. So I dried that up a little bit. I'm going to go in with my Aubergine Brutus Monroe. This is a nice purple color. Not super dark, but it will give it, start bringing in some of that darkness. So I'm just going to start blending that on. And the Brutus Monroe inks, if you haven't worked with them, they do pretty much everything that the distress inks can do, only they're not as reactive with water. So you don't really get some of those bleach spots if you're going for that, if you're using the Brutus Monroe inks. But you can blend with them, you can stamp with them, and since they are permanent when you put them down, you can stamp on acetate, you can just do a whole lot of different things with them. You can kind of let your imagination go and do some more permanent projects. So that's the one thing that's nice about these inks, that they're not reactive with water, is your project is going to be a little bit more permanent. So I'm going to stop there with the purple, and I want to go ahead and put my dark color on. Now this locomotive is a really dark blue. I really like it. I think it's really pretty, and I really want to get some of this around the outsides. You can see here where my paper is still kind of wet, that it's coming up a little bit on the side. So it's probably a better idea to use your watercolor paper when you're doing the little water splatters, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to leave it kind of like that, and you can see how it just really darkens up the whole background, and then you can see some of those bright spots shining through. It just gives it that galaxy look. And now I'm going to kind of go ahead and clean up my area here, and then I'll show you how I do the stars. Okay, so for the stars, you just want to put lots and lots of flecks of white paint. You can use acrylic paint, you can use anything that's really opaque. You want it to be opaque because you want these little spots to really show up. So I am using some Tattered Angels Decor and DIY paint. This is their crystal color, which is just pure white. It's really bright white and I really like it. This container I've actually used up already, but I didn't want to throw it out because, you know, I had a little bit sticking to the sides. So I went ahead and I put a little bit of water in there, and I use this all the time if I want to put some splatters on a page. I just go in and kind of swirl that paint around with my paintbrush and pick up a little bit, and then I just go ahead and splatter. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm using a paintbrush that's really, it's kind of a kid's paintbrush. It's got some stiff bristles, and then I'm just going to take my acrylic block and just go ahead and splatter. So that looks good. You do get kind of messy doing this, just to warn you. I'm going to set this aside and then kind of wipe up this area again. Okay, so I went ahead and I just kind of dried up some of those paint splatters, and I want to kind of add a little bit more stars to the background, but I kind of want to make some shimmery ones. So I'm going to take Brutus Monroe's Liquid Elements. This is a spray, and when you spray it, it actually ends up looking really like a metal or something shiny. Here's a little scratch piece of paper that I've used. I've sprayed some of it on there. It's super shiny. I have the sterling, so it makes it look like some silver or something. I put some splatters on the background of this card, and I also sprayed this little birthday sentiment. So it's a silvery and a shiny on the background. So I'm going to put some splatters on this one as well. And I'm just taking the lid off, and I'm just going to tap it around, getting some spots on there. And when it first goes on, it looks black almost, but as it starts to dry, all of that shimmer kind of shines through, and then you really get a nice silvery looking spot. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that with my heat tool and dry it up. So I have sort of my galaxy background all created, and you can layer it on a card or do a different project with it. Sort of create your card over there if you have some cute little images to put on, or die cut and color. That would look really great. If you want to put some more shimmer on it, you can always grab some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. Here I have Dazzling Diamonds. This Dazzling Diamonds doesn't add any color, but it does add some shimmer. So that's really great if you want a little bit more shimmer to the background. So I'll just show you how I can spray that. And since this Brutus Monroe ink is not reactive with water, I don't have to worry about the ink moving or going anywhere. Since I pretty much put it all over the distressed ink, I think the distressed ink is going to stay where it is since it's got that covering. I'm just going to go ahead and dry this and then show you what that shimmer looks like. Alright, so hopefully you can see some of that shimmer if I kind of turn it in the light. And maybe I did not spray this one with any Tattered Angels, so maybe you can kind of tell a little bit of difference in the shimmer, and that's that glimmer mist. So you can see how you can kind of change up your different colors to make different sort of galaxies, and every background's going to be different. You just can't make two of the same. So there you have your background. That's kind of what I did here. This heart is actually a little stencil, and then I took a little bit of white pigment ink and just put that in the stencil there, just to make like a subtle heart in the background. And then I embossed a little sentiment here. I die cut the word birthday, and like I said before, I sprayed it with the liquid elements and then just adhered it down. And then I added some silver sequins just to finish it off and add a little bit more sparkle. So that is today's card. Hopefully it gives you some ideas of ways you can use that Brutus Monroe ink and some of those liquid elements to kind of create a background. So have fun. Go ahead and try this technique. It's really fun just to put all those different colors on there and just see how it turns out. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and leave a comment, tell me what you think, or subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, I will catch you next time in a future video. Bye!